Welcome to Reflections.
Welcome to today's reflection, and we're excited to have you here. So today we'll be handling a topic called fear, and to handle this topic, I'm not alone, and so I'll let him first introduce himself so that then we can move forward. Welcome.
Thank you, Tabitha. My name is Paul Mungai, member of this church, St. Andrew Parish. Currently, I'm a theological student at Presbyterian University of Kenya, and I'm glad to join you at today's reflection. And I'm sure God is going to bless us even as we continue to reflect on this big topic that affects all of us about fear.
Yes, I hope you noted a theological student, so he's one. Yeah, so when you talk about fear, or when we think about fear, currently there's so many issues that are going around, and especially at this time when there's the pandemic, people are fearing to, contract COVID. People are fearing to lose their jobs. Those who've lost, they're fearing what's going to happen, what holds for future education for those who are in school, and some are not even going to school, and they're wondering, so what happens? Delayed graduation, so people are wondering, so what happens to my future? What happens to my plans? And when you talk about fear, I think it's something that everyone, maybe at a given point in life, they have handled it. And maybe just to bring you in, why do people fear? Where does it come from? Why do young people have this thing called fear?
Well, first of all, let me say this, that everybody fears, and everybody at one time or the other, they have always encountered moments of fear, something to be afraid of, situation to be afraid of, worlds to be afraid of, and even your own health to be afraid of.
Yeah.
So it's something that is normal for every human being. So people are always afraid, but there are different reasons why people are afraid.
Yeah.
And we can say, first of all, there is that fear that even psychological, bringing some medical conditions called anxiety disorder, which we are now going to talk about mostly today, because it has a lot of medical implication which we are not versed in. Most of the time, I would say that our fear comes because we cannot handle the unknown.
Yeah.
The fact that man cannot predict the future, the fact that I don't know what will happen tomorrow, the fact that I don't know what will happen after I send that CV, the fact that I don't know what will happen when I go to that interview, or when I'm even starting a job, the fact that I don't know what the outcome will be, I cannot control the future. That makes everybody in this world, to be afraid of taking action. Another thing that we may say that causes fear, and especially to young people, is holding to their past failures, holding to their past failures. Because just because you failed in the past, you tried a job, you tried a relationship, you tried a career, you sent CVs and you did not succeed, most of the time it makes you fear even doing or even trying maybe for the next position that is available. So holding to their past mistake will make people fear even to take the next step in their life. So most of the time, we are afraid because we don't know about the future.
Correct.
And we are afraid also because we are holding the past so much.
So we can actually say that fear is one of the greatest enemy, because if it makes you go back to where you used to be rather than pushing you towards where you ought to be, then it's one person's greatest enemy. And most people, as you have said, go through that. And probably just to go through it, how does fear manifest itself in terms of, especially to the young people, how can we say that I think I'm fearful? What is that thing that makes us feel now that is fear?
What I would say that, especially for the young people, there is what you're supposed to do. For example, as a student, you're supposed to go to class, you're supposed to do your assignments, you're supposed to submit, you're supposed to sit for your exam. the number one thing that you may find many people when that manifests itself as a result of fear
Yeah.
is that they are not able to do the obvious. The
Mm-hmm.
obvious are like going to class. They cannot sit for the exam. It's
Wow.
something that is obvious.
Yeah.
You're supposed to read
See it.
and sit for the exam.
Uh-huh.
Even reading itself become a problem.
What?
They are even afraid of reading because they are afraid of what will happen after they are reading.
Okay.
So they are always afraid, and you find that these are people that are not able to hold one thing at a time.
Yeah.
You find that somebody is very random because you cannot concentrate on one thing. You cannot concentrate on one thing. So if you are starting a job, you cannot concentrate on one because you are always afraid to hold this one. You know, there are people who, even if you give them a chance, they are afraid to lose it.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're afraid to lose it. I tell you, you come here to church and lead a service here. The first thing is, how will I perform? So they are holding to their. So these are people that will always postpone their position, their appointments.
Yeah.
They postpone what they are supposed to be doing.
Okay.
And most of the time, they manifest this one by lack of confidence. You know, and when they lack this confidence, they will blame it. They blame their failures because of well, I was not confident enough. I did not have enough skills, didn't have enough strength, did not have enough qualifications.
Yeah.
But it's all because they are afraid of taking that position
Place.
that you may have given them. Yeah. So those are some of the things. And you can say that sometimes in society, and especially for young people,
Okay.
they are socially withdrawn.
Correct.
Yeah, they have social withdrawal. You are afraid even to mingle with your friends.
Yeah.
You cannot interact freely with your age mates because you're afraid how you're going to speak.
Yeah.
You're afraid how they're going to take you. How are you dressed? You're afraid about everything. So you end up having a social withdrawal.
Okay.
If you're coming to maybe to a congregation, you're afraid. If it is a group party,
Yeah.
you don't want to go there because you're afraid. What will they think? If they
Of
tell me
you.
to perform, if they tell me to sing, if they tell me
Yeah.
to do this, how will I do this? So you have social withdrawal. And that is one thing that you should look upon to see that you are afraid. And it's good to go back and think, what happened to my life back then that made me manifest all this kind of fear in the things I'm going through. So if we look at those kind of things, we are able to see whether are we afraid or are we not. So lack of confidence, being socially withdrawn from people, those are some of the things that manifest themselves.
That's huge. That's a lot. And I'm so sure even as the viewers think about that and probably, see their lives through it, somebody can just pick some things, like they know when they are called for an interview, this is how I feel. They can remember probably as you spoke about something that happened in the past. And now they can recall, oh, so this is what happened, or this is where I relate my fears came from, or that is exactly what happens with me anytime that I'm called to do something. And probably just to help this person who is saying, I am there, I am having such symptoms. When I'm called for this interview, when I'm told to do something in church, like here, when I'm with friends, that is exactly what happens. So maybe this person feels like they are stuck. And of course, our desire is for them to move from that, to be able to come out or be at a place where they can freely do what they're supposed to do or be who they really are. So how will you help such a person to overcome fear?
Well, as I said in the earlier, first of all, everybody at one time or the other, they will be afraid of something.
Yeah.
And when the Bible tells us, fear not, it's because the God wants us to remove our attention from our prevailing condition and see God in those things.
All right.
Fear comes when you magnify your past mistakes, you magnify your weaknesses, you magnify the things you cannot do. And one way of encouraging this person that is afraid, don't view. I like saying that you need to dissect or to subdivide your assignments. For example, if you are told to lead somewhere,
Yeah.
Don't see it as a big event. Go step by step. Can I speak? Yes. Can I stand?
Yeah.
Can I tell people welcome?
Yeah.
You know, when you go step by step and see some of the things you can do, you are able to go through your fears.
Correct.
You know, even when young people are dating, they are afraid. How will I? How? In fact, they are afraid even to be in marriage itself. But first of all,
Yeah.
try to dissect this thing
Yeah.
and subdivide it and look at, can I start a friendship? Can I even speak to someone?
Correct.
If I can speak to someone, I have a mouth,
Mm.
I have words.
True.
So at least I have something I can do.
Yeah.
So let me start by speaking to someone.
Okay.
Can I make friendship? Do I have something that I like that maybe the other person can like? So
Correct.
those kind of things. So don't view your problem as one whole complex thing. View it and subdivide it to things that you can handle.
Correct.
And when you view it and subdivide to things you can handle, the fear that was there,
Yeah.
in fact, you not see it because it will be step by step, step by step.
Yeah.
People are afraid of going for interviews. But first of all, can you even sit down? Yes, you can. Can you
True.
speak? Can you
Yes.
say your name?
Correct.
Can you say who you are?
Yes.
You know, that is all about interviews.
Yeah.
People are afraid of starting a new job. But can you amass some few capital? Are you able to sell and to convince someone to buy something from you?
Correct.
You know, that is all about you subdivide your complexities and make them to things that you can handle.
Yeah.
And by doing so, all this fear, it will be there, but at least you'll not be seeing it.
Yeah.
You'll be able to handle them. You're afraid of sitting for those exams and such kind of things. Can you read? Yes, I can read.
Yeah.
Can you remember something?
Yes.
Yes, I can remember something. Can you write?
Yeah.
That's all about. Read, remember, and then write in the exam. So you find that this person is afraid of that exam, but there are things they cannot do. They can do.
Yeah.
So amplify the strength that you have. Amplify the things that you can do.
All right.
And you need to make those things that you find that you cannot do, try to minimize them.
Yeah.
And when you amplify the things you can do, the fear of the assignment that is ahead of you will be very little. It will be
Great.
there, but it will be very little. Let me give you an example. You know, when you are preaching, there's
Yes.
always that fear.
True.
You are
Very true.
afraid, will I deliver it?
Yeah.
How will people take it? Will I be able to interpret it well?
Yeah.
And all those kind of things. But what this has taught me is that let me start by the things I can do.
Correct.
I can stand before people.
Yeah.
I can speak.
Yeah.
I can read. And I can interpret at least to my own ability. So if
Great.
I take all those strengths and the things I can do, I find that I'm no longer afraid.
Great.
Yeah.
In short, small victories equals to big victories.
Yes,
I
yes.
like the way you put it, like start small,
Yeah.
win small, win those small things that you have,
Yes.
those things that you can actually do. Start with those ones, and eventually, or
Yeah.
in the long run, it's going to bring the big victory that one will think, oh, this is a big mountain, I cannot, make it.
Yes.
This is so nice. Going back to the roots, knowing that we are all made by God, and knowing that our lives, it's God who lords our lives.
Yes.
What does the Lord say about fear? What does He tell us? Because I'm sure when we go back to the roots, then that it's gonna make it a little bit more better, maybe to understand this topic.
As I said, there are countless expressions in the Bible about fear not. Hundreds of them about
Very
fear not.
true.
And why does God tell us to fear not? He does not tell us to fear not because there are no problems,
Yeah.
not because there are no diseases.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you're telling someone, fear not because of coronavirus.
Yeah.
You know, you're not telling them because the pandemic has gone away or it has just ended all at once.
Yeah.
God tells us to fear not because He holds the future. That is
Great.
one thing. Secondly, the reason why we are supposed to walk in confidence is
Great.
because He's the one that we trust upon. You know, fear remove our attention from our source of help to our own weaknesses. So we magnify what we cannot, and we don't see who we are supposed to lean upon. So God tell us, fear not. Joshua was told, fear not. Be courageous and be of good courage. Why? He was supposed to conquer the entire Canaan, killing thousands and thousands of able men and military people and soldiers. And yet God is telling them not to fear. And they don't have a military as per se. They just have some worshippers in the desert who are coming, and they're told to not to fear. Why? They were not supposed to be afraid because God was supposed to be with them. They were supposed to see God in their fight. So even as we continue with our lives, the reason why we are so much afraid, and we should not be afraid, even the Bible tells us not to be afraid, is because even if you're afraid, Christ said, you cannot even add a single hair in your head. So your fear will only make your health even to be deteriorated. Psychologically, you are not fine. Emotionally, you are not fine. And fear will magnify and distract you and not see your God. So God tell you, fear not, because I know the future. So if God knows the future, why should I be afraid? There is coronavirus right now. People have lost job. Even families are going down. Young people who had started businesses, the business are not doing well. Those who are employed, some of them had to go for unpaid leaves. Some have even been sacked. Some have been suspended indefinitely. And all those kind of things. Should these people fear? They should be concerned, but they should not fear. And this is the difference. Being concerned, of course, it means you are not ignorant of your situation, and you're not ignorant of your situation. You are careful. You know, I have lost job, so I'm supposed to do something else. But as I'm doing that, I know that I know who I depend upon. You see? So their faith is not on that employer. Their faith is not on that CV. Their faith is not on their eloquence, but their faith is in God Himself.
Is in God Himself. That's really huge. I hope you got the difference between being concerned and being fearful. So we are winding this up, and I would love to hear your last comments, probably on the same, as we come to a close.
Thank you. What I would say is that every day we are faced with fear. Every day we are faced with things we cannot solve. Every day we are faced with a question we cannot answer, because this life has its owner, who is God. And the number one thing is that our faith should be in God Himself, for us not to be afraid. There's no way we can walk in this world with all its uncertainty, with all its randomness. You can imagine January, we didn't know we'll have coronavirus for all this month. It's so random. Life is so random. And the one that hold the future need to be your guide. Number two, always see the positive end of everything. Don't magnify the weak points, the blind spot of your life, the things you cannot do. Always magnify the ones that you can do, and by doing so, you'll be able to conquer those fear. So I leave you with that. And I know that as you continue to exercise the caution and be careful, be careful, and indeed God is going to help you and give you strength to avoid all forms of fear, because you'll have faith in Him. Thank you.
Great. As Paul said, actually, fear not is written over 80 times. So scholar says, and do not be afraid is written 365 times. So those are very many ways which we can easily tell that God is telling us, do not be afraid and fear not, cast all to Him. As it says in 1 John 4:18, that perfect love casteth out all fear. So do not let fear rob you of your love in God and your security in God. God bless you and have a good time. Thank you.